This week we learn why we don't talk about Bruno in our review of Encanto. I'm Chad.
And I'm Matt.
This is episode 39 of We Used to Talk About This at Work. All right, Matt, we are back for another week. I am feeling a little out of sorts, man. It's been a long week. Like, this COVID stuff is real. It's real.
Yeah, it's picked up where I'm at too, but we on a work to home order for the next 2 weeks. So good news for these listeners. I got a lot more time to watch things, to review things for y'all. I do it for the people.
All right, let's go. So yeah, like I said, COVID is real. Like, my daughter is going to be home with me for 2 weeks because her teacher got COVID. So that's awesome. And yeah.
Well, hold on real quick. Back up. They don't got substitutes.
No,
like one teacher gets it and then we just shut it down.
She came to work.
Oh, so you guys are quarantining.
Yes.
I thought you were like, all right, she gone, so we ain't got no school now.
No.
Okay, got you.
But yeah, man, this stuff's real out here, and we need to really be careful. But we've got a guest this week, and I'm hoping that he is making all the precautions that he can during these uncertain times. I'd like to introduce the audience to Karlan from the Starfighter Full Movie Podcast. Hello, Karlan.
Hello, how's it going, guys?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Are you being safe out there, Karlan?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't leave the house, actually.
That's the way to be, man.
Yeah, unless I have to go to work, because I work in the film industry. So if they say like, hey, we need you for this day or whatever, then I'll go and I'll be safe.
So what exactly do you do in the film industry, if you don't mind me asking?
Right. So normally when I tell people who are in the industry, I just say I set up lights.
Oh, wait, you don't?
Well, I mean, I set up lights. That's the easiest way to say it. But to go into it, I am a grip and an electric for television and movies. So basically, I set up lights, shape the light, cut it, block it, all that fun stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. So when you say block and shape,
can you elaborate for the simple listeners out there who doesn't understand that? I understand what you mean. I'm talking about for the uneducated ones. Right. Can you elaborate? Can you dumb it down for us?
Right. And there's an old joke that us industry people have whenever we're trying to describe our work field to other people. It can kind of sound like a boring tutorial, like from like a high school film or whatever. But yeah, block and shape light is basically, you have a light and maybe you throw something like a black fabric in front of it and it will completely block it because, black cancels out light. And then shape it, cut it by putting different objects in front of it, different fabrics of different, I don't know how, like even like a bed sheet, something like a bed sheet would like soften a light. That's shaping it.
Interesting.
Oh, okay, I understand that. Mm-hmm. I mean, the listeners will understand that. Yeah.
Of course. So, like I mentioned before, you have a podcast, and I actually was on that podcast last week. The episode dropped yesterday. We discussed Alien Covenant. I put a link for it in the show notes for last week's episode. But my question to you, Karlan, is what made you want to start a podcast?
So I guess what really made me start it was just my brother was always talking about how I need a podcast because I'm always talking about movies and stuff like that. Because originally I have a YouTube channel and I do movie reviews, TV reviews, analysis, watch parties, like all that fun stuff. So I guess the next step was to eventually make a podcast for, I guess, just more content. And it kind of just turned out into something that was very organic.
Okay. So the format of your podcast is a commentary. So for anyone not familiar, it's best to be played while you watch the media that you're reviewing. So
Yeah.
what made you choose that format?
Well, I kind of, well, I wouldn't say I grew up listening to movie commentary from like DVDs and whatnot, but I would say when I was entering college, I started to do more of that, listening to it, and it's really fun. It's it's honestly just like a another vibe, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So how has building listenership been with that type of podcast? Because like it can range from like, oh yeah, this episode is like 45 minutes long. We reviewed an episode of a TV show to like 2.5 hours long because we reviewed a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah. So typically it's always just movies.
Yeah.
But getting listeners, I mean, I think since for like streaming purposes, I'm still working to get more listeners to listen. But again, I post my episodes on YouTube, and I'm not sure how long people are listening to them, but they get some views.
Yeah. So this is something that we kind of talk about on our show on air, and we talk about this off the air a lot. How is it getting guests on your podcast, specifically your friends?
Oh, it's not hard at all, honestly. It's obviously if I just reach out to certain friends and like, hey, if you're free, you could just come on the podcast. I think I was just talking to someone else like literally 30 minutes ago, and they're like, oh, is there a schedule that you have that I can come on? I was like, it's literally any day you're free, we can record. It's that
Wow.
simple.
Carla has a lot better friends than we do, Chad, because it's like pulling teeth to get our
It
friends on this podcast.
it is like certain ones. Some people will like, yes, they're like, heck yeah, I am there before you even finish asking the questions.
Right.
But a lot of folks, they're like, oh, well, that's cool. You have a podcast. What do I talk about on this podcast?
Well,
Who-
a lot of people are just scared. One of the biggest phobias is public speaking. So I had a friend who was on the podcast and she was terrified. At first, she was like, I'm for it, I'm ready. And literally 5 minutes before we were recording, she was freaking out.
That's funny. Well, it's not funny, but
Yeah,
that's
but she ended up loving it after we recorded.
Right, and that's where like everybody who's been nervous once they done it, they was like, "Oh, it's not that bad." I'm like, "Yeah, it's just a conversation. It's not like yes, this goes out to the world, but you're not speaking to the world. You're just speaking to me and Chad."
right.
Exactly.
So Karlan, what's been going on with you this week, man? You mentioned that you do YouTube videos. So what are you working on right now?
So right now for my channel, I'm working on doing more recent movies because my friends are keep telling me I do too many older movies. So to get more views and whatnot, I should do newer ones. So I was recently just editing Encanto today, and I just realized I've been mispronouncing it.
So what were you saying?
Yeah, I've been mispronouncing the title of the movie, and I already recorded and edited everything. So at some point, I have to go back and fix all that, which is going to be super annoying.
How long was it?
I would say the entire recording was like probably like around 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't finished the review in itself yet, but
Okay.
eventually I will.
So what were you calling the movie?
And I was calling it Enchanto, but it's
Mhm.
pronounced Encanto. And the crazy thing is, I pronounced it Encanto when I first started recording, and then I stopped myself, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm saying it wrong because I felt like I heard someone on YouTube, like a bunch of people doing YouTube reviews of it, say it that way. Like even my friend said I'm pronouncing it wrong, and I went on YouTube and I saw some other woman talking about the movie, and she pronounces it Encanto. I was like, well,
Mhm.
that's not right either.
That's funny.
It's funny that you. This is something totally different. But I had a friend. When we was talking about Avengers. He kept calling him Thanos, and I was like, "Wait." I was like, "What are you saying?" He's like, "Thanos. The purple guy." I was like, "Thanos." He just kept calling him Thanos.
It's yeah.
In all fairness, that sounds a lot better than Thanos. It sounds fit for a Titan.
Okay, so this is like just a regular review like you'd see on other channels where it's like you got clips from the movie playing and you're talking over it.
Yeah, basically. So my YouTube channel is called Starfighter Reviews. It's basically me. It's basically the whole thing is based around the 1984 film The Last Starfighter, where me, Karlan, is the last starfighter, and I'm basically reviewing reviews, TV shows, analysis, watch parties, all this stuff while in certain locations from the actual movie. As confusing as that sounds.
So where is your location for this review, for Encanto's review?
I think so. There's a place in the movie called Silver Lake that they go to a lot, and I tell my audience that I normally go to Silver Lake when I'm recording a podcast.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Have you seen The Last Starfighter, Matt?
No.
Same.
It's funny. I'm running into less people or more people who have not seen, who haven't seen the movie.
I feel like in that one of those cult classics.
Yeah, I guess it is a cult classic. I thought it was just like a certified classic because I felt like when that came out in '84, I don't know. I felt like people were talking about that just as much as Star Wars: The Last Jedi, or not Last Jedi, excuse me, Return of the Jedi.
Really? I thought that bombed.
Well, no. It definitely didn't bomb. So, like, even for an example, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game that just came out for it kind of came out for all consoles, really. But in the video game, at the very first level, you're like the little kid Star-Lord, and you're in his room in the 80s, and in his room is a poster of the Last Starfighter. Next to his Star Wars toys.
So I assume that this is a Disney property.
No. It's not actually. Disney doesn't own it, which is why they call it The Last Star Walker. But it was clearly The Last Starfighter because of how the poster was presented and all that. It was super cool to look at it.
Okay. So what else you been up to this week, man?
I mean, other than working on reviews, I have a few movies lined up to watch for the podcast. I'm gonna watch The Majestic, that Jim Carrey movie.
Yes, one of his serious ones.
Yeah, that's a movie. And for anyone who doesn't know, my podcast is basically about watching movies I have little to no care about, and I watch them so I can find an understanding to why people like them. And I put this Jim Carrey up there because I love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is one of my favorite comedians, actors, huge influence on me growing up. But for some reason, that movie, I just never cared to watch it. I grew up watching the trailer from like VHS tapes and all that stuff. But yeah, I never took the time to watch it.
In pre-show, you were saying that you were revisiting old movie commentaries.
Yeah. As of lately, when I'm like editing, my sleeping schedule is like way off. I like edit all my movie reviews and podcasts like around like midnight to like 7 a.m. in the morning. And when I edit, I play audio commentaries for just different random movies. So I was listening to X-Men 2, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and last night I was just listening to Labyrinth, the 1987 movie commentary.
Jennifer Connelly and David Bowie.
Yeah. Classic.
So I was really into commentaries when people cared about physical media. And like for certain things, I wouldn't purchase it unless it had a commentary. So I remember the first X-Men movie commentary, and on it, Bryan Singer tells a story about how he had trouble getting onto set when they were filming like on location because he's at the time he was younger, And so he looked like he wasn't a director of a probably what 30, 40, $50 million movie. And so like like a lady wouldn't let him on set. And so they made a joke about firing her. And I was like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that happens. It happens. You get a whole bunch of people in the industry who look super young. And I mean, like, especially like actors. There's like, remember the last time I was on set, there was like a 30, probably like a 33, 34-year-old lady. And she literally looked like she was 18. It was absolutely insane.
Were you filming a teen drama?
What was it? It was actually an Xbox commercial.
Okay.
Which, yeah, can be a teen drama depending on how you look at it.
And then Moon Knight is one of your favorite Marvel characters.
Oh yeah. So I was just telling earlier that I was on Twitter, and then they released that they're gonna put out the Moon Knight trailer for Disney Plus, and I put out on Twitter my comments. I was like, I love Moon Knight with all my heart. I collect his comic books, read his comic books. I was trying really hard to work on the TV show because they filmed that down here in Georgia. But I was like, I'm not excited to watch this show because I kind of just fell out of love with Marvel movies and TV shows and whatnot. And someone said I'm not a real Moon Knight fan if I'm not excited to see this show, which really bothered me.
So you say you fell out of the Marvel TV shows. So all the Marvel TV shows, have you seen them? Like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, or even the Loki's and stuff like that? Have you seen all those?
Not all of them. I would say everything everything before Endgame, or right when it was Endgame, I've seen. After Endgame, I've kind of was like, I'm done with it.
So you didn't even see that second Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw the newest Spider-Man because my brother was in town and he really wanted to see it. I wouldn't have saw it otherwise.
So no WandaVision, no Falcon and the Winter Soldier, no Loki, no what's that cartoon called? What If?
Yeah, What If?
Black Widow.
No, I haven't seen any of those. And sometimes it's so when you work in film, sometimes it's kind of hard because it's like I don't ever watch anything I'm a part of or my friends are a part of, and I like know what's really happening behind the scenes. So all those Marvel films are filmed down here, and I have a friend who acted on was it Wakanda Vision. I was asked to work on Loki like years ago. I think that was literally like 2020 in like February, but yeah, I just couldn't do it. So
yeah, I remember you were telling me. Karlan was telling me. I think this was pre-show that he had a friend that worked like is an actress, and she was on WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision. I just had a friend who told me he did the entire Hawkeye TV show. He was actually credited for it, and it was like his first big credit, which is really cool.
Did he have a speaking line?
No. He's a grip like
okay.
me. So
okay, I see.
He was the one pushing the dolly, doing all the dolly shots, which is really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm happy he got that credit. I'm like, oh, dude, that would be so cool, and it would be cool to have my name on one of those films, but as entertainment wise, I just wouldn't watch them anymore.
Man, you should have been like, heck yeah, I'm gonna be in Loki. Get your Marvel check and go to the bank.
Well, you know what? I wanted to work on Loki at the time, but it was like literally on Valentine's Day. It was like a last minute call in, and I had Valentine's Day plans with my girlfriend.
man, she would have understood. Oh, wait, are y'all still together?
Yeah, we are.
Man, she would have understood. Since we're on the whole Marvel talk, and I agree, you aren't a real Marvel fan or a real Moon Knight fan if you don't, eat, sleep, and bleed the properties. So, don't be making tweets when you're not about this life. Anyway,
I hate that. I absolutely hate
that. It's just a little thing called toxic fandom, Karlan. That's all.
And you know what? It's these DC, Marvel, and Star Wars fans are absolutely stupid. Or I would say maybe the big bulk of them are, but just from the fact that a lot of these movies are just for entertainment, which yes, that's what they are. But at the same time, it's just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like just brainlessly feeding you content without any substance, really, or less substance.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is all a formula, right? Like, they tick the boxes and they're like, okay, we need to reference something from the comic books. Let's reference something from an old movie. Yeah, these nerds will eat this shit up.
I mean, even like last year, someone was telling me that I mean, I never saw the Black Widow movie or whatever, but they were telling me that what is it? The Suicide Squad movie, the newest one, was a lot better than Black Widow.
It is.
And I never saw Black Widow.
Yeah.
And I saw Suicide Squad. I saw the newest one, and I thought that was one of the worst movies I've ever watched.
Wait, the second one?
Yeah, the second one.
With Idris.
Yeah, the second one.
Sir.
What are you talking about, man?
There's literally no plot to the movie.
Karlan, there was nothing. The whole reason that the movie exists was so that they could go to the island and do the extraction. That was the plot.
That's not much of a plot.
Karlan,
that's the same reason why I never liked that. What's that movie called? Max Fury Road, Mad Max movie, the newest one.
I'm sorry, Karlan. I vouch for you. I'm like, this is a good guy. You know, he's got a podcast. He over here doing his thing, and you're gonna come over here and talk this kind of stuff. You should have just came as soon as I hit record. You should have just said slurs. That would have been not as bad as what you're doing right now.
Well, you know, it's funny is I have a podcast episode of watching the newest Suicide Squad movie with a friend, and she feels the exact same way.
As you or me?
Oh, as me.
No, that you over her fucking getting inside of her head and stuff.
Oh no, this was her second time watching it too when we watched it. I kid you not, she legit fell asleep on the podcast watching it.
That's real bad. I don't even know how to continue this fucking podcast, man. Like, you what?
Well,
what?
why do you like the film, or why do you both like the film so much?
It was hilarious, like very funny.
I love the banter back between Idris Elba and the Peacemaker.
Yeah, it was a fun adventure. It made more sense than the original Suicide Squad. As someone that is would I say recent father? She's getting old, but as someone that is a father, like that whole rat catcher stuff, like it slapped me in the fucking face.
Yeah, I don't think I laughed at all during this movie. Or maybe I did laugh, but sometimes I laugh when something is obviously not funny. And then like there's like silence of me and someone else just not laughing. I laugh at that. But originally, I think the first Suicide Squad movie was just a crap made movie, just production wise.
Okay.
With a better story. Or a more let me not say a better story, but I would say just a more realistic story for me to why these characters would do this thing.
I feel like that Viola Davis gif where she's just putting the shit in her purse and getting up and just walking off. Like, what is this foolishness that you're spewing here, man? Like, this derailed the whole fucking podcast. Like, okay, respectfully, I hear you, Karlan. Respectfully, we're gonna move on, and I don't know what we're gonna do in the edit, but we're moving on. So since we're talking about Marvel properties, Matt, you just saw Eternals. Karlan did not. Why don't you share your thoughts with us? I saw it too, and we'll see where we kind of mesh.
It did not feel like a Marvel movie. It felt like a movie that you see on HBO. It felt like a movie that you see on HBO or Showtime or something about superheroes, but then they just included Marvel references. Like they made references to Thanos, they made reference to the Blip, but it was like, I don't know, I couldn't get into it. I mean, I watched the whole thing. I ain't gonna say it's a bad movie, but it was just like it's there. Oh no, go ahead. What you gonna say?
Karlan, did you have any, like, I know you haven't seen it, but like, have you
No.
seen anything about it?
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but just yesterday I was watching I guess reading the Instagram comments from it because they kind of released that, oh, it is officially on Disney Plus, and the comments were hilarious. It was just, I would say majority of the people were just saying how boring it is
Mm-hmm.
and how it just didn't feel like a Marvel movie, like what you just said, and yeah, they're just pretty much slandering it. Some people liked it though.
Yeah, I don't really get those folks. Like, my first complaint is that this movie has 10 stars. You're following 10 characters. 10.
Wow.
And apparently they cut it down from 12. That's first off. There's like a lot of unnecessary flashbacks in the movie that just add to the runtime and don't really give you a, like, they technically, yes, they give you backstory, but you don't care. And like, there are decisions that some of the characters make when we have to have the, when we bring the clipboard out and we are reminded that this is a Marvel movie. And some of the decisions made, like at that final battle at daytime, that's all CGI. You've seen Marvel movies, you know how this goes.
Right, right.
That just seems so out of character, and it's like, where did this decision come from? And if we would have focused more on what was happening in the now and less what was happening 60 million years ago with these unnecessary flashbacks, we could probably understand more so why these characters are doing what they're doing now.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So it was like I was watching it, just like Chad said. A lot of shit I was watching, I was like, why are you doing this? Just like they're supposed to be quote unquote superheroes. But we can't intervene in none of their problems. You see, they're having a genocide, and they're like, "No, we can't intervene." It's just stuff like that. It's just like I understand the premise of the reason why, because they're supposed to only fight the what's that shit called?
Deviants.
Deviants, yeah, which is like these monster type things, and that's the only thing they can do. But it it was there. And if there was no Marvel, if they didn't put those Marvel quotes in there, it would just been a basic ass movie.
Yeah. As I was leaving the theater, I had a conversation with a couple of guys, random dudes, and we had the conversation where this would have made a much better Disney Plus show, like 6 episodes, you know, not like the way it's structured, like each
Hmm.
episode opens with those flashbacks that were not necessary for a movie, and then you spend time with one of the 10 fucking characters, right? But them needing this to be a movie hurt it.
Well, I just got like like a flashback within that. You saying that if it was a TV show, it probably would end up looking like Arrow. And I love the first 2 seasons of Arrow,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
he's
couldn't take anymore.
killing people left and right. It was beautiful. Although I will say, like, for a quick tangent, so I absolutely love the pilot to Arrow. Like, it's probably one of the better superhero pilots where like he's murdering people, and then at the very end, it's revealed his mom is like a bad guy. And I was like, oh shit, where are we going with this? And then by the end of the first season, they kind of, well, throughout that first season, they pull back on that, and they're like, oh no, in the in the pilot, she was doing some dirty ass shit, having
Right.
people murdered. But when we get to the finale, oh no, they made her do those things. Did they? Or did you not want this character to be this evil?
Right. Everyone's responsible for their own actions.
Right.
But I would say to that honestly that Arrow's pilot episode was great. I loved it, which is why I kept watching it for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But as of last year, the best superhero pilot that I've ever watched was from a 1994 TV show, or it might have been 95, called Mantis. I don't know if either of you have ever
Oh
seen that.
shit! Yes. with the black I should not have clapped into the mic with the black guy from Alias, right?
Right. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
and
him.
he's Martian Manhunter on Justice League. Yes, that show was the shit. One of
Yeah.
it was like it was about a black guy. He's like in a wheelchair or something like that, and he made a suit that could make him walk, and he was a superhero. And
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
childhood shit.
It's about a neuroscientist who is paralyzed from the waist down, and throughout what makes it so incredible, this is the first ever prime time black superhero like
Mhm.
ever.
And
And I
then
had
what? We didn't get another one to what? Black Lightning.
yeah, basically. And yeah, the story was great, characters are great. Love that it was like an all black cast, or
Hmm.
just for that pilot episode. They got rid of literally everybody after that show was successful after the pilot.
Yeah, that was a Fox show if I remember right.
Yeah, and you can watch the whole pilot episode again on my channel. I did like a full episode review on it.
Okay. Do you remember that show, Matt?
No, not at all. But I'm gonna watch the pilot episode.
Okay. I should watch it too.
But yeah,
Uh,
Chad. So what have you been up to these days? You been
uh
getting some exercise in?
sort of, sort of. So I went axe throwing this week. I've never done it before, but it's something that I've always wanted to check out. And it is not as easy as you think.
Well, you just throw it and then it sticks to the wood, right?
Yeah, but well, one, you have to throw it in such a way that it's safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they were like throw it like have the axe over your head when you throw it, not next to your head when you throw it. And then also you need to give it enough force because it can bounce back.
I've seen videos of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
have either you done axe throwing?
I have not.
Nope.
Yeah. So it's a fun time. Like we paid for an hour. It was fun. My arm got a real workout, you know. So I don't do
Not to be that guy though, but like I understand it can be fun, but it's kind of like, is it fun for the whole hour of just throwing an axe?
so maybe like 30 minutes into it, though, because it was just me and my friend. So 30 minutes into it, the guy that worked there, he was like, oh hey, I turned on this other lane for you guys, and it had like a little zombie thing on there. It's like a projection, and so you
Mhm.
could hit like the different parts of the zombie, so that kind of made it a little less tedious.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, it seems like, yeah, that'd be fun, but like after like the first 20, 25 minutes, you'd be like, all right, I'm done throwing this axe now.
But also you paid that money, so like you like I'm gonna ride this out.
Of course.
But also checked out a movie called Boiling Point. It is a British movie. It is and if I'm using a term correctly in Karlan's industry, it's a oneer, the whole thing, which is it's all one take. So no cuts. This is all one take. That camera's like moving all around. And
Wait, Karlan, is that the right terminology?
Yeah, yeah.
Look at Chad. Look at you. Good job.
I mean, I know a little bit about a little bit. Okay, I mean, I do have half of a movie podcast. So it takes place in a restaurant, and you it's like one of the busier nights in the restaurant, and just all the things that can happen, right? So they have a visit from the health inspector before they open, and he kind of fucks up some stuff, and like their rating goes down. So I'm not exactly sure how food rating, like restaurant ratings, go in the UK, because like initially they were a 5, and then the guy said you're a 3 now. So I'm guessing that's probably like going from a grade A to like a grade C or something like that, or a grade B,
Mhm.
I assume. And so they were worried about that. And then like they had factors like social media to worry about. So like this is like a nice restaurant. So they have like a set menu. And so some dudes came in there with like 10,000 Instagram followers, and they was like, hey, we don't want any of this food on the menu. Can you make us some steaks? And the waitress was like, no. And so they asked to speak to the manager, and the manager's like, yeah, we can do that. And so she's telling the kitchen staff, and they're like, no, fuck you. We have a menu for a reason. And then it's like Are you guys familiar with the phrase Chekhov's gun?
No.
No.
I hope I'm using this term right. It's a theater term. So essentially, if you're watching a play and a gun is introduced in Act 1, by Act 3, that gun will have fired. So basically, the movie sets something up, and you're dreading when it's going to happen. And I really recommend this movie, but I'll say this. This is the last thing I'll say. So the Chekhov's gun of the movie is one of the patrons mentions that his fiance has a nut allergy. And throughout the movie, you're waiting on them to bring that food because you know what's going to happen, but you aren't sure how the fuck this woman's going to have an allergic reaction. And it's not in a funny way. Like, it's like, oh shit. And like the fallout to that, like the whole movie's building to the aftermath of what happens when that woman gets the peanut allergy reaction. Like, I felt like you just get so engrossed in it because like the camera's moving and it feels like you're like with them, like walking around, to where like when like the shit hits the fan, it feels like a reality show. And you like, you fucking tell him because he's been a dick all night.
I remember watching a movie called The Boiling Point, but it was like a Gordon Ramsay documentary.
So it's $7 on Apple iTunes, but yeah, it came out last year. It's got Stephen Graham. He's a British actor where like if you saw his face, you'd be like, yeah, I seen him in something. Let me see one more thing. It had a really high Rotten Tomatoes score. Like, it is sitting at a 98%. Like, it's really good. Like, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was so Scream 5 just came out. And I got into a real like, oh man, I want to watch something Scream related because I'm not going to be able to see Scream 5 for a little minute. You know, as I mentioned earlier, my family has to quarantine because of the situation at my daughter's school. So I saw the first 2 seasons of the Scream TV show, and it was fine. It was basically like some CW shit with murder, right? But the interesting thing about season 3 is that it has an almost all black cast, including Keke Palmer. Well, I should have looked at the cast list before I came up in here. So Keke Palmer's in it. And apparently Mary J. Blige. Like, there's a black mom character where I was like, man, where'd they get this bootleg ass Mary J. Blige at? But that was actually Mary J. Blige. So, okay. RJ Seiler's in it. He was the Blue Ranger in the Power Rangers reboot.
Okay.
Cool.
Tyler Posse, he was Teen Wolf. Tyga's in it. Like I said, Mary J. Blige is in this movie for some fucking reason. Tony Todd's in it also, the original Candyman. But yeah, so it's not good. Don't watch it. Do not waste your time. It is 6 episodes, and that was 6 hours wasted. Do not watch it.
You know what? It's funny you say don't watch it. I remember back in, I want to say that was 2016 when I was first entering in the film industry. People were talking about that Scream TV show because it was filmed down here. And I was like, oh, is that a cool show? They're like, no, don't work on it. It's an absolute shit show.
It's terrible.
So let's get into the meat and potatoes.
This week we discuss Encanto.
Many years ago, this candle blessed our family with a miracle. Our house, our casita, came to life with magic. In time, every member of our family,
Cecilia, up top,
was given their own magical gift.
I understand you.
I'm not super strong like Luisa.
the donkey's got out again.
On it! Or effortlessly perfect like Señorita Perfecta Isabella. But Mama, why am I the only one that didn't get a gift?
You're just as special as anyone else in this family.
You just healed my hand with an arepa con queso.
magic is in danger. We gotta get out of here!
We must protect our home. We must protect our family.
This is my chance. I will save the magic. Even in our darkest moments, there's light where you least expect it.
The Madrials are an extraordinary family who live hidden in the mountains of Colombia in a charmed place called the Encanto. The magic of the Encanto has blessed every child in the family with a unique gift. Every child except Maribel. However, she soon may be the Maribel's last hope when she discovers that the magic surrounding the Encanto is now in danger. Karlan, what did you think of Encanto?
So my initial thoughts of the movie is basically, to sum it up, is basically the intro for this podcast when I just mispronouncing it wrong and just being completely misinformed about it. And Encanto is a decent movie with really good animation, okay story, all that stuff. But what separates it as a film is the fact that it's about a Colombian family, which is absolutely rare to see that in American films. So, right. But because of that, and I say this in my review too, that Encanto has so much details to it. And I mean so much details to the point where they hired just random people out in the streets of Colombia to have as people to check for authenticity of the film, to make sure buildings look the right way, characters are dancing the right way, the clothes they wear, the plants that are in the film, everything. There's so much detail to it that it's crazy, to the point where you will never notice these details unless you're Colombian yourself or if you're a part of that culture. So if you're just watching this as an American, someone who's just uncultured, like myself, which I would assume
like all three of us,
more than half of the people who own Disney Plus are, you're just gonna watch this as just a regular animated movie and just give it a mid score.
Yes, this is Colombia's Coco.
Right. Exactly.
Matt?
It was a good movie. Speaking of the animation, I really like I don't want to say clump. I really like the hair and everything, how it felt authentic.
Yes, I love that.
The hair of everybody.
The details.
Yeah, the details. And the biggest takeaway from this movie for me is they got a banger, and we don't talk about Bruno.
Oh, no.
That song slaps.
Are you not on the internet at all? Like the kids, like TikTok, Instagram, the kids are all over this. YouTube.
Over that song? That song, yes. Right? Yes. That song slaps. And it was like, because it's
what you mean does it? You saw the same movie as us, Karlan?
We don't talk about Bruno. That's a banger. Like once I got done, I listened to it again on Apple Music. And, I don't really care for the singing stuff, but yeah, that song slapped.
It does.
But overall, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I thought the soundtrack was just, I mean, obviously it's a musical, but I thought at times it was a little bit random. And I like to consider myself as someone who likes musicals, but I don't know. It's just non-existent to me. Like, it just didn't really felt like, I don't know. I felt like this movie could have been way better without a soundtrack or without it being a musical, to me personally.
All right. So my son is here. He's seen the movie the other day too. And I want to give you a 10-year-old's review of the movie. So what do you think about the movie?
I thought it was a good movie. It had a lot of songs in it, and I enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
What part did you like?
I liked when Mirabel saw Bruno coming through the painting, because to me that was kind of funny how he
horror scene.
Kind of, yeah, he seems like such a horrible guy, and then he's really just a guy that looks super like a super villain. but then really he's not really that scary. He's more of just the guy.
And who was your favorite character?
The shape-shifting one, Emilio.
Oh,
Okay.
dang, you remembering the names and stuff? Dang, all right.
Impressive. I didn't remember any of the names after I watched it.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Only once.
And you remember the names?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you on any social media?
No.
Okay, because I was wondering if he's seen like the memes and stuff.
No. All right. Thank you. You can go now.
So I didn't know that this movie was a musical when I first turned it on. Like I tried to watch it with my daughter because she likes 3D animation. And I was like, okay, maybe you'll sit your crazy little self down and watch this with me. And then they did that first song and I was like, oh, this is right up your alley, right? And she was like, it is not, Dad. And she just walked away. So Karlan, I'm gonna agree with you. I am a huge Lin-Manuel Miranda fan. I've seen Hamilton live once. I have seen the recording on Disney Plus. I went to New York to specifically see Freestyle Love Supreme, and if you know what it is, you know what it is. I'm a huge fan of his. I've seen some of the other, like I've seen In the Heights, the musical, and the movie. I even watched a terrible Netflix movie he did about the little monkey. That was also a musical. Like I'm a huge fan. Something about this music didn't feel right though. I don't know if I'm just like going through Lin-Manuel fatigue or something. Like I 100% agree. We don't talk about Bruno like slaps like a motherfucker, but the other songs just felt a little off to me.
I can see that. I didn't really care for the beginning. The first music, the first number was good. You know, explained what's going on. But like I really didn't care for the Strong Ladies one. It felt like she wasn't really singing. She was more just talking through this in a musical way.
Sing songing.
Yeah. But overall, like the grandmother was the worst one. She was a villain in this story.
Yeah, she was the villain. Like I've been seeing memes talking about how like it's so brave for there not to be a villain. No, the grandma, like Abuela, she's the fucking villain. She is the fucking root cause of all of the problems in this family. And like that's the thing. I really like the story. Like I like that it's the conflict is internal, right? It's very real. Like that's real in a lot of families. Like take the magic shit away, right? Like where like you have like individuals in your family that are just so stubborn and like that just has such a ripple effect on everybody else in the family. And it's just like this trauma that actual families have because of shit that occurred before they were even born. Like that's insane. And that aspect of the story, I appreciate it.
So no, it was the grandmother's perception of what the village thought about her family versus how her family actually was. Because every time she would get upset is because the village would think that they're not magical or whatever like that. She was basically going off the perception, not how they actually were.
Right.
And before the very end of it, I thought the village was trash too. When they were like, "Hey, my donkeys got loose. Strong woman, come pick them up." Those are your donkeys. Go pick them up yourself. Like I thought they were abusing their abilities like that.
Right. I agree 100%.
Right.
But then once at the end they came through and helped them build their house, I was like, okay, village, you redeemed yourself, but I thought you was abusing your power. And then another thing that got me too was the whole marriage proposal thing. They know that this family is I was going to say star of the show, but the end all be all for this village, right? Mm-hmm. To me, it should be dudes should be lining up to marry these women versus the mad. What you say? instead of them trying to cater to
another
these
family.
people,
Yeah.
it should be the other way around. So for them to be like, oh, we got to get this right for to get this marriage proposal right, the dude should be lining up to be with them. So I thought that was backwards.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's backwards again because the grandmother was running the entire show, and clearly she's just from that
a different time.
Yeah, different generation of time of what's supposed to happen.
And another thing I thought, I was like, this grandmother talking a lot of shit for somebody who had no magical powers.
I mean,
I'm like, she running stuff and she ain't got no powers.
I mean, you talking mad shit about your fucking granddaughter because she don't have magic. What the fuck you got? Like,
right.
You got a disapproving stare. My grandmama got that shit too. So what's your point? What you doing?
Right. I thought that was real. Oh, another good thing is I didn't like her singing the strong woman's thing, but her message, I understood where they all perceive her to be the strong one physically. So she has to be the strong one mentally for that family. So I know that probably
I mean, all those
hit people are right.
All the songs are really about their internals, but also I can't remember anybody's name except Maribel's, but the one who has the flower powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Isabella.
Okay, you did a video on it because I was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, I've been memorizing their names.
So when Maribel went in her room and she started lowering herself down from the flowers, I got some mad Arkham Asylum vibes with like a Poison Ivy level. I was like, girl, this is a boss fight and you about to die.
yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. She was definitely Poison Ivy. And another thing I want to say about the film as well is I guess they did a good job with the protagonist Maribel, and just in terms of literally every character, all 11 characters of the film, all her family members are just a percentage of Maribel's personality. So if her stronger sister Luisa, I believe that's her name, has anxiety for what if she can't do these powers, Maribel has that same anxiety too because she just doesn't have any. Her older sister Isabella has depression because she feels like she can't live up to the expectations that her grandmother set. Is exactly what Maribel is feeling. So all these characters and what their ego is, their personality, all that stuff is just a percentage of Maribel, which I thought was pretty neat.
Wow. Okay. That's okay. Shit, that's a really good take. I didn't really. I mean, I've only seen it the one time and in chunks, but yeah.
Right.
Did anybody peep out that Maribel's name was sewn onto her dress? I found that weird.
Yeah, well, if you watch the film again, everyone's outfits resembles their powers. The strong sister has free weights on her dress, and Isabella has flowers on her dress.
So
and
since she don't have powers, they just like, here's your name. Get the fuck out of here.
And the girl who's the cousin who has like sonic hearing, she has sound waves on her dress too.
That's dope.
Let's talk about her. Her power trash, and because she can hear everything, right, from long distance, right?
Right.
Why could she can hear Maribel crying at the lake?
Oh, that's good. I mean, because she was outside the perimeter of the Encanto.
Well,
wait, they didn't have powers anymore then.
Well, in all fairness.
Oh, no, you're right. They didn't have powers in. Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe that. But in all fairness, they never go to the exact clarification of what their powers are. Like, for an example, if her older sister has like super strength, I literally said in my review that she has the power of all her ancestors, which is like which is what makes up her entire strength. The strength of her grandfather, her great grandfather, all that stuff. So I wish we had an indication of like the limit of her powers, because she was literally lifting up a building like it was nothing.
I mean,
right.
I feel like that was like the whole thing. Like they were just using these powers. And it's like but like they didn't really understand it, right?
Exactly. I feel like there was no responsibility when it came to it. They were just doing it because they felt like it was the right thing to do. They were doing
it because because they were fucking raised that you have to do this.
Exactly.
And also with the one who can hear, I read a thing online where they're like, she could hear Bruno in the attic. She just kept it a secret.
She said she could hear it.
Right.
She did.
She said she could hear. She could always hear him in the walls with the rats. Like she's like, I knew there was more than just rats in the walls, or something like that.
But that whole dynamic of the movie made it kind of stupid. If you go back and watch it, the reason why they shunned Bruno was because he had
his spitting truth.
He had a vision about. Was it someone?
No, it was specifically Mirabelle.
Yeah, Mirabelle. He had a vision about something, but yet they didn't finish. They didn't let him finish his vision. That's like going to a fortune teller and saying, "I see death in your future," and you're like, "Oh no, I don't want to hear that. Get out of my face." But then she would have said, "Yeah, death in like a bug that you kill at your house."
But that's the whole point of what the story was saying. Like this family is so wound up tight because of the grandmother that anything that shook the illusion of the perfect fucking ecosystem that they had to be removed.
Right.
And they did Bruno so dirty, because if like the stuff he was saying was like your goldfish is gonna die, then it dies. How was that Bruno's fault?
Because he told him.
Exactly.
Right. It is like you're shooting a messenger when he was like, he said I was gonna get fat, and eventually I got fat.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
he said it was gonna rain. Right. It's Bruno's fault. Duh. Like he said it was gonna rain, and my power is to control the weather. So all I could think about was the rain.
Exactly. Right. And I was listening to some other podcasts about what I'm about to say. I can't remember the correct term for it, but it goes like with parenting, because there's like two types of parenting where it's like when both parents, they love their child, but when they do, like one parenting is like they do something that's completely controlling, and it's like, I love you, but you have to do this, and there's no discussions about it. It's because I'm like just a parent, right? And that's because, and we saw that from the grandmother throughout the whole movie, and that's like a certain type of mental illness that she's developed, and she's completely controlling.
Oh, Munchausen's?
Maybe that's what it's called.
Like I know you got like the by proxy where you make people sick, but I don't know.
Yeah, but Munchausen's syndrome when they think that they're sick and they're not.
Okay.
Right.
I learned that from an Eminem song. He's like, at Munchausen's syndrome, you made me believe when I was sick when I wasn't, and I grew up. Now I blew up. Now it makes it sick to you. Okay, we can go past this. But
so, final thoughts is we all like this movie.
Yes, it's a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10.
We haven't rated anything in so long.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I'm going to start rating movies, just give pure thoughts. But I think the thing I love the most about it is just the overall theme of the film is
family, like Fast and the Furious.
Right. It's the dynamics that you have between each family member and being conscious of that. And the more conscious you are aware of how of your role, that's what this movie is trying to say. Is if you're conscious or not conscious of the role that you have in your family, the more conscious you are, you will have a better understanding of how your family perceives you, and how well do you know them, and how well do they know you.
You got some final words, Matt?
Oh no. If you don't cover it, I got some trivia.
I mean, that's usually my job, but you can do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what trivia you're gonna come up with. So if you don't mention it, then I got something that I want to mention.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of facts too about this movie that's pretty mind-blowing.
So what do you guys think the Rotten Tomatoes is on this movie?
Oh, super high.
I go with 79.
79. I'm gonna go at 89.
91 with a 93% audience score.
Wow.
All right, so let's play a trivia game. So I have 2 because I wrote one and I beta tested it and people were getting it right, and that made me mad. So I made the question harder. So the first question is, true or false? 2021 was the first year in which 2 Disney movies released starring female leads.
I say
Female
false.
leads. That's a false. Yeah, there's Frozen.
No. I mean, two separate movies in the same year.
Oh, two separate movies in the same year. I'll still say false.
Okay. So the answer is false. Yes. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. So here's the other question I made that was harder because too many people guessed false. Encanto and Raya and the Last Dragon released in 2021. It was the second time Disney released two movies in the same year with leads that include a female character. Of the following movies, which movies released the same year and also include two lead female characters? So the question more so is which one of these came out in the same year? You got A, Moana and Zootopia, B, Wreck-It Ralph and Frozen, C, The Princess and the Frog and Tangled, or D, Ralph Breaks the Internet and Frozen 2.
I guess Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Frozen 2.
I go with Wreck-It Ralph, the first one.
And Frozen 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph Breaks the Internet came out in 2018. Frozen 2 came out in 2019. The Princess and the Frog came out in 2009. And Tangled came out in 2010. Wreck-It Ralph Part 1 came out in 2012. And Frozen came out in 2013. In 2016, Moana and Zootopia came out. And so Zootopia had the co-lead of Judy Hopps and Moana starring, co-leading Moana.
Gotcha.
Oh, but isn't Zootopia like... I thought the main character was a guy.
No, in Zootopia, the main character is Judy and what's his name? Jack or the fox guy?
Yeah, two
Nah, man.
right?
Give her correct name. That's Officer Judy Hopps, all right?
Yeah, but what's the dude? What's the dude's name?
I never saw the movie. My brother keeps telling me to watch it.
It's really good. It's about racism. So it's got two leads. It's got the bunny girl and the fox dude.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And just like Moana, it's named after Moana, but it's about her and Maui.
Right. Yeah, I never liked Moana. I never finished it. I thought it was boring.
It's a good movie, man. All right, so let's run through this trivia, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. All right, so Bruno was originally named Oscar, but his name was changed to better fit the song lyrics, We Don't Talk About Bruno. In the song, In the Family Madrigal, but one of the kids is having a cup of coffee. Then when they're getting all excited to see Maribel, while Maribel takes his coffee and says, that's why coffee's for grown-ups, but not in Colombia. Coffee with milk in the morning is traditional for children in Colombia and other South American and European cultures. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I'll give you two really quick one that I said in my review. It's pretty fascinating. So when Miranda, that producer / songwriter, he went to him and the directors and some creative team went to Colombia for like a research project to like get a feel for the film and whatnot. Mm-hmm. They met a tour guide and they loved that tour guide so much and became friends with her that they literally not only hired her to be like a consultant for the film, but they took her likeness and literally had her face to face, glasses, hair, and everything, and it's Mirabel, the main character.
That's awesome. I hope she was paid well, but that's awesome.
Yeah, and if you ever see her face, it's legit her.
And one of my trivia is to piggyback off that is Mirabel is the first main Disney animated female character to wear glasses.
Wait, word?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Representation.
It says one of the reasons she does is because her name comes from the Spanish word mira, which means to look.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's interesting. Because I can think of male characters that wear glasses. Like right off the top of my head, the main dude from Atlantis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's a good point.
Yeah.
Milo.
And then the last fact I had was Enchanto.
Encanto?
Or excuse me, that's not how you pronounce it. Encanto. See, I'm gonna be saying it all night. It takes place. The movie actually takes place just right after the 1,000-Day War, which was a civil war in Colombia that resulted in over 130,000 people dying, and why Colombia has been in such economic ruin since today.
Shit.
And you can see the film actually depicts the actual war when her grandfather died.
Yeah, when did that happen?
It started 1899 till 1903.
Wow.
Yeah. So to take a place like right when it ended, and you take how old Mirabel's mother is,
50 years.
Yeah, 50. Yeah,
it's the 1950s.
Yeah, around then.
Interesting. Well, I mean, they missed World War II. And all those fucking Nazis coming to South America.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they infiltrated the Encanto. Because like they're letting new people up in that motherfucker.
Well, we never knew where in Colombia they were. They were just somewhere in the mountains.
Right.
Maribel singing singing the first song is the fastest singing character has done in Disney history.
That makes sense. Like if you're familiar with Lin-Manuel's like writing of music, like he puts his singers through the ringer. Like I highly recommend Hamilton. Like if neither of you have seen it.
Haven't.
And the last one I want to give, it's hard for you to tell now without the picture, but the color scheme on the characters matches their individual family. So if you look at the shapeshifter, the sister who can hear things, their color, their family, father and mother is all yellowish. Then you have the other family where they're all kind of purplish. Like if you look at it, each individual family had color scheme match their clothes. And the team originally considered giving the fathers that married into the family magical powers too, but then they ultimately decided to keep it to only the children to represent family roles and expectations.
That makes sense. And if I would have just felt like there would have been sinister reasons to marry into the family.
Right.
I would never marry into that family.
No, I mean the grandma fucking sucks. So I agree. But also you can't even do shit. Like you over here trying to holler at some girl down in the village and the one girl over here listening to your shit.
Right.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. And then I think they even said sometime in the movie that her room has actual like soundproofing, so she can't do it like 24/7.
I would fucking go insane if I heard everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Karlan, thank you so much for coming on. Why don't you tell the good people how they can listen to your podcast once more?
Yeah, so you can find my podcast anywhere where you listen to podcasts, except for like Amazon Music, because I just never bothered to set that up. So yeah, listen to Spotify, Apple Music. You even go on YouTube and check it out. It is Starfighter Full Movie Podcast.
You want to give out your social media handles?
Oh yeah, you can look me up on Twitter, Instagram as Starfighter Reviews.
No, sometimes the social media handles is like slightly different than what the actual name of the show is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your title is long as fuck like ours too. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Just Starfighter Reviews, both Instagram and Twitter. Twitter, I just give out random movie recommendations to like random people with my reviews from YouTube. And in Instagram, I just post literally random stuff about movies with music to it.
Same, minus music.
All right.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for finding us. Like, this is very random. Like, I woke up one day and I saw an email from our podcast provider saying, like, hey, I want to do a crossover. And I was like, okay. And yeah, you turned out to be a pretty solid dude.
Yeah, really, really fun. I'll be more than happy to come back again. And then if you guys want to come on the podcast and watch another movie, that'll be great.
I would be down for that. Matt is the problem. Matt is always the problem.
Yes, the difficult one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you and your
my
fucking
sleeping
time
schedule.
zone.
Yeah, my sleeping schedule is way off. So I wish I had America had the same time zone as Japan. So.
Oh yeah, it's a lot easier to do a podcast at 10 a.m. on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusedtotalkpod@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page, We Used to Talk About This at Work, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Used to Talk Pod. Come back next week when we review Skyfall.
Like always, I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if it was a bad episode, but whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.